Now, I must briefly touch on this. And this includes two words: idolatry, atheism. It is idolatry to believe that there is any power in form or effect. Even the food you eat feeds you by reason of the fact that there is an invisible life in the food which is feeding you. The form doesn't feed you, but the invisible life in the food feeds you. That is why we now have many cases of malnutrition, of people who are eating so heartily that they're pounds and pounds and pounds overweight, and yet become violently sick with malnutrition. And do you know why? The life of the food has been taken out before it's been sold to them, and all that they get is husk. There was quite an article in one of our magazines in January which told our public that every one of the dry cereals which they buy in the stores hasn't an ounce of life or food in it, that it is nothing but husk that goes into the stomach without any life except the life that you add to it by adding some milk or cream or sugar or fruit. But in and of itself, these dry cereals are nothing but husks from which the life has been taken. And yet they're sold for food and for children's food. It has long been known in the States that the bread and the pies and the cakes we eat have all had the food values taken out of them before we get them, and we get the husks. It is for this reason that, was it last year, in Scotland, they refused to allow the largest bakers in England to open branches in Scotland, because the largest bakers in England are using American recipes. And Scotland says, our people need bread. We're bread eaters, and we need the life in the bread, and you take it out. See that? It isn't the form that feeds you. It's the life in the form. And if the life's been taken out, you're not fed. So it is. Don't fear a form. Whether it's the form called fever, form called lump, form called cancer, consumption, paralysis. Don't fear the form, for the form cannot harm you. It is idolatry to give power to a form. And you only begin healing when you get cured of idolatry, when you believe in golden calves in any form. Now, this subject may also be embraced under the head of atheism. Since you believe in God, and God is spirit, and God is invisible, put all of your faith in the invisible and none of it in anything that has visible form. Do not fear, hate, or love that which is visible. Use everything that's usable. Enjoy everything that's enjoyable. But don't put your hope and your faith in it. Don't put your hope and faith in a bomb-proof shelter. It may not stand up under the test. Don't put your faith in man whose breath is in his nostril. He may not prove up to the responsibility you place on the shoulder. You know that God is spirit, and spirit is invisible. Therefore, place your faith and hope and reliance in the invisible. And when you see any form that human sense says is destructive, treat it the way Jesus did leprosy or the blind man. Treat it as nothing. Don't fear it. Don't hate it. Don't try to get rid of it. Sit quietly and peacefully and realize if you exist as visible form, it would be idolatry or atheism to believe you have power. All power is in God the Spirit. These two subjects comprise one of our most important subjects. For on them, our entire demonstration is built.